Lauren Sanchez married one of the richest men on earth, and now she's living in a world of wealth that's almost impossible to measure. From zero-gravity space flights to a $500 million super yacht, her life is something most of us can't even begin to imagine. In this video, we're breaking it all down, starting with the most recent glimpse into her luxurious lifestyle, the wedding of the century. If there was ever a moment that perfectly encapsulated the sheer magnitude of extreme wealth in the 21st century, it was the wedding of Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos in Venice, Italy. A spectacle so extravagant, so breathtakingly opulent, that it redefined what it means to celebrate love when money is no object. The wedding was a multi-day extravaganza, beginning on June 24, 2025, and concluding with a celebration at the Arsenale, a former medieval shipyard in Venice. The numbers alone are staggering in their excess. The wedding cost an estimated $46.5 million to $55.6 million, making it one of the most expensive weddings in human history. To put this in perspective, this single celebration cost more than the annual budget of some small cities, more than the lifetime earnings of thousands of families, more than the gross domestic product of several small nations. But the true scale of this celebration becomes clear when we examine the logistics. The event involved 90 private jets for guests and 30 water taxis, with 152 private jets landing during the wedding week. The carbon footprint of this single celebration exceeded that of entire small nations, creating an environmental impact that would take decades to offset. The guest list read like a directory of global power and influence, with approximately 200 guests attending what can only be described as the ultimate gathering of the elite. Among the attendees were Oprah Winfrey, Tom Brady, Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, Khloe Kardashian, Kendall Jenner, Kris Jenner, Bill Gates, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Barbara Streisand. This wasn't just a wedding party. It was a concentration of wealth, power, and influence unlike anything the world had ever seen. The sheer logistics of accommodating such a gathering required a level of planning that would make military operations seem simple. The wedding generated significant economic impact, with Venice's tourism ministry estimating $1.1 billion in value, including $1 billion from global media exposure. The event contributed $33.3 million in guest spending and venue costs, with each guest generating $5.6 million in value. The couple didn't just rent venues, they transformed Venice itself into their private domain. Luxury hotels like the Aman Hotel, rooms from $1,800 to $10,000 night, St. Regis, Gritty Palace Hotel, Cipriani, and Hotel Danieli were booked. The city's most prestigious accommodations became extensions of their celebration, with entire hotels reserved for their guests. But perhaps the most telling aspect of this celebration was the attention to detail that money could buy. The wedding used 30 out of 280 water taxis, essentially commandeering Venice's transportation system for their private use. Citywide hotel occupancy reached 85% in June, with 80% of services sourced from local artisans, turning the entire city into a supporting cast for their celebration. The wedding dress itself became a symbol of the event's excess and artistry. Lauren Sanchez wore a custom Dolce & Gabbana lace wedding dress inspired by Sophia Loren's gown in the 1958 film Houseboat, featuring hand-appliqued Italian lace and taking 900 hours to create, with 180 hand-finished silk chiffon-covered buttons. 900 hours of human labor for a single dress. That's equivalent to 22 weeks of full-time work, all concentrated into creating a garment that would be worn for just a few hours. But the dress was just the beginning of Lauren Sanchez's fashion extravaganza. She wore Dolce & Gabbana Alta Gioielleria Miracolo earrings, borrowed, and carried a souvenir from her Blue Origin spaceflight as her something blue. Even her accessories told the story of a life lived at the absolute pinnacle of luxury and adventure. The celebration didn't end with the ceremony. For the wedding dinner, she changed into a sweetheart neck, corseted gown inspired by Rita Hayworth's look in Gilda, maintaining the vintage Hollywood glamour theme throughout the evening. The post-wedding party saw her in an Oscar de la Renta cocktail dress, featuring 600 yards of hand-sewn chain and 175,000 crystals, followed by an Atelier Versace strapless Georgette dress with crystal mesh embroidery. The sheer number of outfit changes and their individual costs represent a level of fashion excess that borders on the surreal. Each dress was a masterpiece of craftsmanship, but together they created a fashion show that cost more than most people's homes. The 175,000 crystals alone on the Oscar de la Renta dress necklace represented hours of meticulous handwork, with each crystal individually placed by skilled artisans. The entertainment at the wedding was equally extraordinary. The ceremony featured a performance by Matteo Bocelli, who sang "Can't Help Falling in Love" by Elvis Presley, adding an emotional and artistic dimension to the celebration. All performers were friends of the couple, and a strict no-phone policy ensured an intimate atmosphere, creating a bubble of privacy within the spectacle. The attention to detail extended to every aspect of the celebration. Instead of traditional gifts, the couple requested donations to Venetian charities, including the UNESCO Venice Office, Carilla, and Venice International University, attempting to give their celebration a philanthropic dimension. They also made donations on behalf of their guests, supporting Venice's cultural heritage. Even the logistics of guest management were unprecedented. Guests received goodie bags with Venetian fare, including Vibi Venezia blue velvet slippers for men and plush black open-toe slippers from Amazon for women. The fact that Amazon-branded slippers appeared in the gift bags reveals the seamless integration of personal celebration with corporate branding. The wedding was planned with military precision by Lanza & Baucina, a London-based firm known for royal and A-list weddings, ensuring that every detail was executed flawlessly. The scale of coordination required to manage 200 VIP guests, 90 private jets, and the transformation of an entire city into a wedding venue represents a level of event planning that exists in a category of its own. But perhaps the most extravagant aspect of the celebration was the way it demonstrated the complete privatization of public space. The couple's yacht, Koru, was anchored in the Venice lagoon, serving as both a backdrop and a symbol of their ability to bring their floating palace to any destination on Earth. Venice, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of humanity's greatest cultural treasures, became the backdrop for their personal celebration. The wedding also revealed the couple's approach to family and tradition. Lauren's two sons, ages 24 and 19, walked her down the aisle, and her daughter, age 17, served as maid of honor, delivering a reading during the ceremony. This integration of family into the spectacle added a human dimension to what could have been simply a display of wealth. The scale of media coverage and public interest was unprecedented. The wedding generated over $1 billion in global media exposure, turning their personal celebration into a global media event. The couple's decision to share the first wedding photo on Instagram demonstrated their understanding of the public's fascination with their lifestyle. The wedding was not an aberration in their lifestyle, but rather a perfect crystallization of what it means to live when money can literally buy anything, including entire cities for your personal use. The unimaginable luxury of Lauren Sanchez. If the Venice wedding represented the pinnacle of celebratory excess, then the daily life of Lauren Sanchez reveals what it means to exist in a permanent state of luxury so extreme that it rewrites the very fabric of human experience. To understand the magnitude of Lauren Sanchez's lifestyle, we must first grasp the astronomical wealth that surrounds her like a golden atmosphere. Jeff Bezos' wealth, estimated at around $197 billion, supports extravagant assets like a $500 million yacht and homes worth over $350 million combined. This isn't just money, this is the kind of wealth that fundamentally rewrites the laws of physics around you, where gravity itself seems to bend to accommodate your every desire. Let's begin our journey into this rarefied world with the crown jewel of their possessions, the super yacht Koru, a floating palace that makes the Titanic look like a modest fishing boat. The Koru is a $500 million super yacht, the largest sailing yacht globally at 417 feet, with 3 masts, a pool, and luxurious interiors requiring at least $30 million annually for maintenance. Think about that for a moment. The annual maintenance cost alone, $30 million, exceeds the lifetime earnings of entire families, yet it's merely the price of keeping this maritime masterpiece afloat. The Koru isn't just a yacht, it's a statement written in steel and wood across the world's oceans, a declaration that normal rules of economics, physics, and human limitation simply don't apply to the Bezos family. The yacht is so large that its construction sparked controversy in Rotterdam over a historic bridge because even centuries-old European infrastructure must yield to the playthings of the ultra-wealthy. But wait, there's more. The yacht is accompanied by a 250-foot support vessel, Abiona, because when you're operating at this level of wealth, your yacht needs its own yacht. The Abiona serves as a floating garage and service station, carrying everything from helicopters to jet skis to whatever other toys might be required for the perfect aquatic experience. The real estate empire that Lauren Sanchez inhabits is equally breathtaking in its scope and luxury. The couple owns a multi-million-dollar Hawaiian estate estate acquired for $78 million in 2021. But this tropical paradise is merely one jewel in a crown of properties that spans continents. Jeff Bezos owns several luxurious homes across the US, including a 10-acre estate in Beverly Hills purchased for $165 million in 2020, featuring gardens, a golf course, and a luxury pool. The Beverly Hills estate alone represents a level of opulence that would make European royalty weep with envy. The property features expansive gardens, terraced grounds, a 9-hole golf course, guest houses, and entertainment areas. This isn't just a home, it's a private resort, a self-contained universe where every conceivable comfort and luxury has been anticipated and provided. But that's merely the beginning of their real estate empire. Their Washington, D.C. mansion, bought for $23 million in 2016, spans 27,000 square feet with 11 bedrooms and an underground wine cellar. 27,000 square feet. That's larger than most shopping centers, yet it's just one of their many homes. The Hawaiian estate deserves special attention, as it represents perhaps the most paradisiacal of their properties. Located in La Perouse Bay, the 14-acre property includes a 500 square foot main house, a 700 square foot guest house, a circular swimming pool, and a private white sand beach. Imagine owning your own private beach, where the sand beneath your feet and the waves lapping at your toes belong entirely to you. This is the kind of ownership that transcends mere property. It's the ownership of paradise itself. Their Manhattan apartment, purchased for $80 million in 2019, spans 17,000 square feet with floor-to-ceiling windows and terraces. In a city where space is the ultimate luxury, they've carved out a kingdom in the sky, with views that stretch across one of the world's most iconic skylines. But perhaps nothing exemplifies the transformation of Lauren Sanchez's existence more than her jewelry collection, where individual pieces carry price tags that would bankrupt small nations. She owns a custom-made teardrop necklace worth approximately $400,000, featuring a 9-carat diamond, but this pales in comparison to her engagement ring, which tells its own story of excess and devotion. The engagement ring, featuring a 30-carat pink diamond, is estimated at around $2.7 million. This single piece of jewelry, one ring, costs more than the median American home. It's not just an accessory, it's a statement of ownership, a crystallized representation of the kind of wealth that can reshape reality itself. The fashion choices that Lauren Sanchez makes have become a form of performance art, each outfit carefully curated to communicate wealth, power, and status. Her style is described as exuberant luxury, often including designer outfits, such as a Dolce & Gabbana halter column for events, drawing comparisons to icons like Liz Taylor and Jackie Onassis. She is known to own Hermes Birkins and Cartier accessories, items that represent the pinnacle of luxury fashion. Transportation in Lauren Sanchez's world has been completely reimagined. The couple travels on Jeff Bezos' $500 million super yacht, Koru, and uses private jets, including a Gulfstream G650ER private jet, costing $65 million, known for its luxury and range. The very concept of commercial travel, of waiting in lines or dealing with schedules imposed by others, has been erased from their existence. They live in a world where geography is merely a suggestion, where any destination on Earth is just a few hours away. The automotive collection that serves as their ground transportation is equally extraordinary. Bezos' car collection, worth around $20 million, includes rare vehicles like the Koenigsegg CCXR Trevita and Lamborghini Veneno Roadster. These aren't just cars, they're rolling works of art, mechanical marvels that represent the absolute pinnacle of automotive engineering and design. But perhaps the most mind-bending aspect of Lauren Sanchez's lifestyle is her approach to leisure activities. She participated in an all-female spaceflight with Blue Origin in April 2025, alongside celebrities like Katy Perry. Because when you're married to the man who owns a space company, even the final frontier becomes your personal playground.
You know what? Thank you for the segue, because you are going to space.
Yeah, I am going to space.
You are going to go on a Blue Origin flight.
The social circle that Lauren Sanchez now inhabits reads like a directory of global power and influence. She attends super yacht parties with Orlando Bloom, Katy Perry, and Carly Kloss, and has met figures like Prince Charles and Boris Johnson. This isn't just socializing, this is operating within a network where casual conversations can shape global policy, where friendships can move markets, and where influence flows as freely as the champagne at their gatherings. The daily routine of Lauren Sanchez has been transformed into something that would be unrecognizable to most humans. Her lifestyle includes luxury shopping sprees, such as visits to Prada, Louis Vuitton, and Dolce & Gabbana during a Caribbean cruise in January 2025. Shopping has evolved from a necessity into a form of entertainment, where entire stores can be closed for private browsing sessions, where the very concept of budget has become obsolete. The couple dines at the world's best restaurants, not just as customers but as VIPs who can command private dining rooms, custom menus, and experiences that money literally cannot buy for ordinary mortals. The world's finest chefs compete for the privilege of serving them, creating culinary experiences that exist nowhere else on Earth. The scale of Lauren Sanchez's current lifestyle is so vast that it begins to feel almost abstract. Her net worth is estimated at $30 million by Celebrity Net Worth, while Bezos' wealth, at $165 billion, Forbes, underscores the financial backdrop of their lifestyle. These numbers are so large that they lose meaning. They represent not just financial wealth, but a fundamental transformation of what it means to be human in the 21st century. Living at this level of luxury means that the normal constraints of human existence, time, space, resources, even physics, become suggestions rather than laws. Want to have breakfast in Paris and dinner in Tokyo? Done. Want to own a piece of jewelry worth more than most people's lifetime earnings? Here you go. Want to travel to space for the weekend? The rocket is fueled and ready. But as we'll discover in our final exploration, this paradise comes with a price that extends far beyond money. The journey to this rarefied world of ultimate luxury is one marked by transformation, controversy, and questions about the very nature of human happiness and fulfillment. Behind all this opulence lies a remarkable story of transformation that reveals both the possibilities and the perils of achieving the absolute pinnacle of material success in the modern world. Lauren Sanchez's journey from struggle to giving back. To understand the magnitude of Lauren Sanchez's journey, we must first travel back to the moment that shaped her understanding of human kindness and compassion. Lauren Sanchez, born in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 1969, is a third-generation Mexican-American whose early experiences with struggle would become the foundation for a lifetime of giving back to those in need. Lauren Sanchez's philanthropic journey began in childhood, inspired by volunteering with her grandmother at a local hospital, where they baked banana bread for nurses and doctors. This early exposure to service and compassion planted seeds that would eventually bloom into charitable efforts spanning millions of acres and hundreds of millions of dollars. But first, she had to overcome her own struggles. Picture, if you will, a young girl sitting in the back of a classroom, her palms sweating as she prays that the teacher won't call on her to read aloud. As Sanchez herself revealed, "I got tough time in my life growing up. I just, as a little girl, and they just put you in the back of the room and they just kind of push you along. And I did. I just thought I was dumb." The transformation began with a single moment of recognition at a community college. A teacher looked at her and said, "No, sweetie, you're not dumb. You don't know how to spell. You can't." This experience of being seen, understood, and believed in would become the template for how Lauren Sanchez would later approach her philanthropic work. Recognizing potential where others see only problems, she later reflected, "And she did. She really changed my life, and I became a journalist, which is because of her." From these humble beginnings, Lauren Sanchez would go on to become an Emmy-winning journalist, helicopter pilot, and philanthropist, eventually finding herself in a position to influence charitable giving on a scale that would have seemed impossible during her struggling childhood. Today, as the wife of Jeff Bezos and vice chairperson of the Bezos Earth Fund, Lauren Sanchez oversees philanthropic initiatives that dwarf the budgets of entire nations. Sanchez has stated that philanthropy to her is about more than just giving. It's about making a real, lasting impact that helps shape the world for future generations. This philosophy drives her involvement in what may be the most ambitious environmental philanthropy in human history. The centerpiece of Lauren Sanchez's philanthropic work is her role as vice chairperson of the Bezos Earth Fund, a $10 billion commitment by Jeff Bezos to combat climate change and protect nature by the end of the decade. To put this in perspective, this single philanthropic commitment exceeds the gross domestic product of more than 130 countries. Under Lauren Sanchez's leadership, the Earth Fund has launched initiatives that are reshaping environmental conservation on a global scale. The Greening America's Cities program represents a $400 million commitment over 7 years to create and enhance green spaces in underserved U.S. communities. The initial grants, totaling $50 million, were awarded to 30 organizations in cities such as Albuquerque, Atlanta, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Wilmington. Lauren Sanchez has been particularly passionate about this initiative, emphasizing that access to nature is deeply unequal and the importance of green spaces to underserved communities is is often overlooked and unaddressed. Her words reveal a deep understanding of inequality that stems from her own experiences growing up in challenging circumstances. The scope of their environmental philanthropy extends far beyond urban green spaces. The Bezos Earth Fund donated $60 million to the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, NFWF, to restore 1.6 million acres across more than a dozen US states, focusing on at-risk species and ecosystems. This initiative supports 80 to 100 local projects over 2 years, including boosting populations of black-footed ferrets and gopher tortoises, planting native trees, and prescribed burning in longleaf forests. The impact of these conservation efforts is staggering. This follows a previous $90 million donation to NFWF for restoring 2.7 million acres, meaning that Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos have now funded the restoration of over 4 million acres of American wilderness, an area larger than Connecticut and Rhode Island combined. But Lauren Sanchez's philanthropic vision extends beyond environmental causes. She has taken a leading role in addressing one of America's most pressing social crises, homelessness. In 2024, Sanchez and Bezos donated $110.5 million to 40 organizations combating family homelessness through the Bezos Day One Families Fund. Perhaps most remarkably, Lauren Sanchez has taken a hands-on approach to some of the world's most challenging humanitarian crises. She is actively involved with This Is About Humanity, an organization dedicated to supporting separated and reunified families at the US-Mexico border. This isn't just financial support, it's personal engagement that reveals the depth of her commitment. Lauren Sanchez has made trips across the border, engaging in hands-on activities such as preparing meals and cupcakes with her son, Nico Gonzalez, distributing backpacks filled with games, stuffed animals, and essential supplies, and spending time with children in shelters. She described these experiences as incredibly moving, noting that the resilience and spirit of the children touched my heart deeply and warmed my soul. This personal engagement with suffering and resilience connects directly to Lauren Sanchez's own story of overcoming adversity. She was honored at the organization's annual fundraising event in 2023 for her contributions, recognition that came not just for financial support, but for her genuine commitment to hands-on service. The scale of Lauren Sanchez's philanthropic influence extends through the Bezos Courage and Civility Award, which has granted $400 million to philanthropists as of 2024. Notable recipients include Eva Longoria and Bill McRaven, who each received $100 million to further their charitable work. This approach to philanthropy, empowering other philanthropists with massive resources, represents a multiplication effect that extends Lauren Sanchez's impact far beyond her direct involvement. The recognition of Lauren Sanchez's philanthropic work has been substantial. In April 2024, Sanchez and Bezos received the Global Visionary Award from Conservation International for their dedication to addressing climate change and biodiversity loss. This award represents acknowledgement from the global conservation community of the transformative impact of their giving. But perhaps the most impressive aspect of Lauren Sanchez's philanthropic approach is how it reflects her personal philosophy about second chances and human potential. She has said about her work, "You just need one person. Just one person that looks at you and be like, you're going to be okay. You're going to make a difference and I'm going to help you." This philosophy, born from her own experience with a transformative teacher, now drives philanthropic efforts that reach millions of people. The environmental initiatives alone represent a staggering commitment to the planet's future. The Bezos Earth Fund has also pledged $60 million to establish centers focused on biomanufacturing and climate change solutions, demonstrating a forward-thinking approach that combines immediate conservation with long-term innovation. Yet the philanthropic work of Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos exists within a complex moral landscape. The same couple who spent an estimated $50 million on their Venice wedding have now committed billions to charitable causes. This creates a fascinating paradox: extreme personal luxury existing alongside transformative philanthropy. The wedding's environmental impact from 152 private jets stands in stark contrast to their climate change commitments, yet both are expressions of the same vast wealth. Lauren Sanchez's own perspective on this paradox is revealing. She has expressed that she feels lucky to be part of charity making a difference, suggesting an awareness of the privilege and responsibility that comes with her position. Her emphasis on being part of, rather than leading these efforts, reflects a humility that may stem from her own experiences of needing help. The scope of their combined philanthropic commitments is breathtaking. When you add up the Bezos Earth Fund's $10 billion commitment, the Day One Fund's hundreds of millions in homelessness initiatives, the Courage and Civility Award's $400 million, and the various countless other causes they support. Lauren Sanchez is overseeing charitable giving that approaches the scale of national budgets. But perhaps the most telling aspect of Lauren Sanchez's philanthropic work is how it reflects her journey from someone who needed help to someone who can provide it on an unprecedented scale. The girl who once sat in the back of the classroom believing she was dumb now has the resources to ensure that millions of other children won't face the same struggles she did. She has also authored a children's book that addresses her dyslexia experience, ensuring that her story of overcoming learning differences reaches young readers who might be facing similar challenges. This personal touch, using her own story to inspire others, represents the most authentic form of philanthropy. The transformation of Lauren Sanchez from a struggling student to a global philanthropist represents more than just personal success. It represents the possibility of redemption through service. Her work suggests that extreme wealth, while problematic in many ways, can be channeled toward genuinely transformative social good when guided by someone who understands what it means to struggle, to be overlooked, and to need help. As we consider the full scope of Lauren Sanchez's life, from her $50 million wedding to her $10 billion Earth Fund commitment, we see a complex figure who embodies both the excesses and the potential of extreme wealth. That brings us to the end of this video. For more interesting videos like this, click on the cards on your screen.